Hi guys, I'm so excited because I've got the Spiritual Laws of Life by Harold Klemp back. And of course, I'm going to have commentary as I always do in these Spiritual Laws of Life videos. And my commentary is not necessarily that of the author. So here we go. Soul's responsibility not to interfere in the affairs of another soul, but to allow others their freedom. That is the law of non-interference. To interfere usually involves a lack of love. Ooh, that's not something you would think if you're trying to help someone, right? But listen further. Impatience and offering uninvited advice are often symptoms. So I make it a rule now not to offer any advice, even if I can see it as clear as crystal that this would be helpful. I really have to stop myself sometimes, quite a bit actually, and shutty, my mouthy, and literally just, if someone asks, I will say something, but otherwise I have to stop. It's not loving because you are robbing the person of their experience that they need, that they chose, okay, through their actions and possibly even pre-incarnation into the physical form to experience. It's not your business to, give the cheat codes. There you go. No cheat codes. Some people have to experience what they need to experience. Even the living act master does not enter into someone's personal affairs without definite permission. Now that could be your angels, act masters, God, etc. You have to actually ask for help from them. They will not come to you without your permission because that violates the law of non-interference. They want to help, but this spiritual law forbids it. The lesson: a spiritual being cannot violate the personal space of others, even if he is desperate to make a living. Yeah, there's no holds barred on that one. Like, you guys, respect people's space, right? Sometimes when you walk through a mall, which I do once in a blue moon, more so lately than ever, I will see someone who wants to come up and try to sell me something, and I just kind of back my energy away, pull it in, and almost put up a shield around myself. So they've stopped bothering me, but they find people who are open and they just pounce on them. They literally get in their space, which is not okay. Like, if you have that job, I get it. You need to make money, but it just seems aggressive. Anyone who uses any means of change or influence on another's mind, including prayer, is violating a law of spiritual consciousness. Oh boy. So if you've seen any of my videos, you'll know that I was in 5 different religions in this lifetime. Actually, the 5th one is more of a spiritual path. It's not a religion. Actually, Eckankar is not a religion. But I did, do the whole Christian prayer group thing and everything. And I realize now it's a violation. And it's not because I'm reading in this in this book, but because from a higher spiritual perspective, you might know someone who's sick, okay? I had a best friend who actually had just recently died of cancer. And if I were to have prayed for her to live, she could have lived a longer, more miserable existence in her body that was causing her so much pain. And that's not okay. When she was ill, I would say, may the blessings be. That was the prayer I gave to her. We had fun. We did good things together. I offered her to laugh and to just go places and do fun stuff. If you are in a prayer group, I simply say to you, consider that you might be robbing someone of the spiritual lessons that they are supposed to have, that they chose to have. And you're creating karma for yourself. You're taking on some of their energy, actually. So I like to simply say, as Eckists do, may the blessings be. And leave it in God's hands. It's not for me to decide what should happen in anyone's life. Who am I to play God? God has a choice and plan with that person. That individual soul has a contract to experience certain things. Okay? When we see another person with problems and troubles, we can have compassion. Absolutely. I have so much compassion for people. But we understand that somewhere down the path, these problems have come to him by his own efforts. Okay? And that could be, again, a spiritual lesson they chose to take on that's a really difficult path in this life for growth, if you believe in reincarnation. And if you don't, there's still lessons in everything that happens. And again, if you do something bad, it does come back to you, right? If he asks for help or compassion in one sense or another, we can give it. But we certainly do not interfere with another person's problem and take it on ourselves by saying, I'm going to pray for his healing. We learn the laws of spirit. I mean, you really could literally, as a powerful, drop in the ocean of love and mercy of all that is, you could literally be prolonging their suffering by praying that and causing them more pain, just be there for them. That's beautiful. May the blessings be, right? The living Act Master will never interfere in your life at any time, nor will angels or guides, spirit guides, because your state of consciousness is like your home. It is a violation of spiritual law for anyone to walk in without your permission. The troubles we have are of our own making through our own ignorance of these spiritual laws. These laws are at work whether or not we are conscious of how they work. They are at work whether or not we are conscious of how they work. So be careful next time you want to pray for somebody else. May the blessings be is a prayer in itself, but it leaves the power where the power belongs, with the person and with God, source, all that is. One is required to pay the price for breaking the spiritual laws, even though it is done in ignorance. This is the highest law. Do unto others as you would first have them do unto you really means if I don't want people meddling in my life without permission, then I ought to extend that same privilege to others. Yeah, who wants people coming in and telling you what to do, how to live your life, right? No one wants that. Even in Eck, we don't always realize that when we violate the law of non-interference, we are doing so because of lack of love. Okay, it's impatient, it's controlling, it's an ugly energy, right? People of good intentions who are often short on patience sometimes forget the law of non-interference. So being patient means you have to watch people go through different things with love in your heart and a soft, comfy, like pillowy, cushiony place for them if they're in your inner circle. Okay? So that's what I now do. I was not always good at this. I was trained kind of to be more codependent in that sense, but I've worked on it for decades, and now I listen, and if someone asks, I give my opinion. But the problem is so interesting is that even I'm in a new different plane in the sense that sometimes people will ask and they'll ask. So I'll say, oh, okay, this is what you need to do. Here's a list even, like, here you go. You want to know, really? Do you want to know? Okay, here is your list. This will help fix this issue. But then they don't want to hear it anyway. So I feel like I'm going to be reading about the law of silence soon in this book, because now, even though I'm not just giving unsolicited advice, I'm finding that people who are asking don't really want to know. It's incredible. And then they resent that you actually spent the time of your own energy to give them an answer. It's such a weird phenomena. Yeah. Most people develop health problems as they get on in years and the body begins to run down. That's a natural part of living. But those who interfere with others without knowing the laws of divine spirit take on more than is necessary. Oh yeah, big time. You guys, like, you don't want to take on other people's ick. And you can. When you're trying to be in their space or fix their stuff, you actually can take some of it on, So if you're like a Reiki practitioner or a spiritual healer of some sort or a psychic reader, you just have to be very careful to not entangle your energy. It's like energy, I gave this analogy before because it sticks for me. It's like Jello. When you have your energies together with someone, it can solidify into a gelatinous thing, and then you take on their stuff, if that helps someone. Okay, so you don't want to get Jello with someone unless you want to be Jello with someone. You know what I'm saying? Okay. Whether it's knowledge of lawn care, okay, or of spiritual laws or spiritual beliefs or anything else, we don't have a right to push our beliefs upon anyone else. So true. Nor does anyone else have the right to push their beliefs on us. This is part of the freedom of soul. Yeah. Okay. Like, hear that. Hear that. You know, in the golden age when Lemuria was around and all these beautiful places that you can, by the way, still visit in different planes of existence, there were no laws because no one needed the law. Why? Because everyone just did what was right. That's then. Now we have 3 gazillion laws because apparently people don't know what to do. But I don't know. It is what it is right now, just saying. I love that there's a tribe in Africa that when someone acts out of line, they all gather and they stand in a circle, and everyone in the circle goes around and they say something nice about everyone in the circle. That's incredible to me. I just love that. So they're positively reinforcing the higher soul alignment, if I'll put it that way. Why should any one religion try to suppress another simply because they feel it's their right to do so? It's ignorance, that's why. This is a violation of spiritual law. You cannot force others to do your will and call it God's will. That is like the worst, one of the worst ignorances, because you're pretending to be God, okay? Like, you can't tell someone, you know, you should be Jewish, or you should be Muslim, or you should be Christian, or you're going to go to hell. I mean, I know people believe that, but it's only because they don't get it. They're not understanding how the dimensions actually work. They haven't had the spiritual experience. Like Jesus even said, the kingdom of heaven is within. Yeah, you guys, it's totally within everyone. You don't need someone in between to get there. It's in you. Close your eyes, meditate, focus on your third eye, which is the eye that opens in the other dimensions. Boom. Okay, and you will get there. You could see Jesus himself. I did. It's for everyone. It's for everyone. There's not one person who can't do that. But if you're clouded with mud and dirty and doing dirty deeds, you're not going to be able to lift to that level. And lots of people do lift to that level. There's a gazillion people who have spiritual experiences like what I'm talking about. But it's not like it's just going to happen because you want it to. You have to work. You have to work. You get back what you put out. Okay? So you have to work for it. How? Meditate. Contemplate. Use creative visualization. Take a day where you talk to no one. Oh, it's so lovely. It's so lovely. I love my don't talk days. It's just wonderful. I'm just quiet with God, and I'm so happy. I'm not kidding. Like, I'm not making this up, you guys. Okay? It's like, it's all doable. I wish I could explain it better. I'm trying here. I really am. Okay. So, one of the rules of the spiritual world is that you cannot take away someone else's freedom and expect to have freedom for yourself. Yeah, for sure. Some people would call this a selfish motive. You want to give others freedom so that you can have it for yourself. Well, yes, that's how it works. That's how it is, he wrote. Because the book of rules, or the spiritual law, is very exacting. The spiritual laws are based on the law of, does anyone know? The first biggest one I always talk about, it's in the title of my channel, the law of love. I want to sing the Love Boat for some reason. I want to go on a love boat. No, I actually don't. Anyway, there is a spiritual law that says you cannot ask masters to interfere in other people's lives. Yeah, that's true. Okay, moving on. One of the blessings and perhaps curses of this world is that soul can do what it wants to. Free will, people. I could get on a plane and fly to Indonesia or Hawaii tomorrow if I wanted to. You can do anything you want. You could go try to burgle something, but guess what, guys? Bad timeline, not a good choice, right? So what are you choosing? Are you sending love out? That's not interference, just to send love. I just feel like I try to be a beacon of love. But, again, not saying, can you please heal this person, or can you please make this person wake up and not be such a jerk? I don't do that at all. I let go, release the cords and let it go, and just be the best you that you can be. And don't interfere, but put your nose on your own page. And, it's incredible. Like when you just live in the now moment, things come to you, right? In time. You just never know what's going to happen, but it's going to be good. And even if it's not good, you're good because you have God, you have love, you are love. And so you handle it. Like when I had to leave 2 days early from my 8-day vacation, like, you know what? That's cool. I'm good. Like it was fine, whatever, you just go with the flow. One of the blessings and perhaps curses of this world is that soul can do what it wants to. What do you want to do? It has free will. You have free will. You can do whatever you want, but know that there will be consequences if you violate other people and yourself, actually. So true. Okay. Of course, there's a saying that my freedom ends where yours begins, and your freedom ends where mine begins. Yes, that makes sense. Okay. Yeah. So within your own sphere, you're free. If people understood or understand love correctly, they will understand that. Yes. So my freedom is my circle. Your freedom is your circle. When you try to get in my circle and assert your dominance, then you are violating spiritual law, and that is interference, and that is violating the law of non-interference. So many people who pass themselves off as disciples of love today do not understand that simple relationship, that my freedom ends where yours begins and vice versa. That is how it works. So if you have some, I don't know, teacher, pastor, rabbi, spiritual leader who is pushing their will on you, you are in the wrong path, although it's not wrong because you're learning something, but you're on a path where you're not being allowed to grow as soul and learn on your own. Okay? So be aware. And that applies to, your relationships, all of them. I'll just say all. Parents, kids, lovers. Just teasing. That's such a funny word, lovers. Yeah, like you literally have no one but yourself and your guides spiritually. For me, I ask the Mahanta, which you meet in the inner, okay? If you ever are interested in checking out Eckankar.org, he's the sweetest. He's the current living Eckmaster. There's always been an Eckmaster in every single time, like a ton of them. In fact, I remember hanging with one in a very past life long ago, and they're always around. There's one for every age, and when one of them leaves, the newest one comes. And they used to have to be in hiding because the religions of the day wanted to disempower the people of the day and make them have to pay them money so that they could have a communication with God, when that's exactly the opposite of how it is. You can talk to the divine 24/7. You can talk to your angels, you could talk to the Eckmasters, you could talk to the Mahanta, you could talk to Jesus, you could talk to Mohammed, you could talk to any of them. Literally, tune in, chant their name. That's it. Boom. It's so simple, guys. But for me, I like to chant the word Hugh. Hugh, because it is the word for love, and it's very, very ancient, and it is the highest, well, there's always higher, but it is the highest available to us word to bring into our physical, and then it brings in the energy of that particular place as well. Okay, I think I'm done for now. I love you guys. Thank you so much for liking, subscribing. Hit the bell notification if you want to be updated as to when my next video comes out. Thank you for all your wisdoms as well. That's not a word. Wisdom, not wisdoms. Okay. Yeah.